can be much better for learning, they can be much better for assessment, but contextualized, but they're not as good for assessment decontextualized, just dropping in from the sky. Exactly the kind of things that the standard educational measurement paradigm evolved to be good at.
Is there any way to adapt this, though, to the background of the student or to the situation in which they're found so that actually you can get more than 0.5%?
Yes, and there are a number of schemes for doing things like that. One of them is to find out, either because you know it or because you ask some questions, what does the kid know about? What are they familiar with? So this kid might do jobs in pollution in SimCity. This other kid might do the wolves and the moose on Isle Royale because they know enough to get over the initial hurdle for that to be meaningful for them. And you can see, and you might find out what representations or language do they know about systems thinking in a more stripped down manner, and then find out what they know, and you leverage that and you use that in these more complicated interactive tasks.
But when you do that kind of standard, you adapt in that way. Then what are you getting? So now you're getting you're giving them different tasks. Are you eliciting anything like the comparable skill?
Well, and the argument is that there isn't really such a thing as the comparable skill. That's an approximation that we use, and we can often get away with it for good purposes. But my systems thinking isn't the same as yours. There are a lot of similarities. We both know about space splitting or a serial elimination, but we've had different experiences that got us there. So if we took identical tasks, there'd be some you'd do a lot better in, and two that I might do better in. If you have a degree of comparability, you can have something like this progression about sophistication of systems thinking, but it's now conditional. Conditional on what you happen to know about all those other many things that are going to have to come together for you to display this thing that, standing from the outside, we're acting as if it were the same systems thinking theta. But it's not. It's a useful approximation in some situations if you think about it and you build it, but it's not a useful approximation if you haven't thought about it or if you're trying to make decisions that cut across it.
Would you see this as a way of an educational development program, though? So you start with a kid, say, at first grade, and you're going to keep that kid in school for, say, another 12 years or 11 years.
You get the biggest payoff if you do that.
Yeah,
but even like
you could adapt. What I'm saying is we're talking about personalized education.
So absolutely.
You could use this kind of in a recursive way. So you change the situation, you enrich the situation. That's also a sense in which you can find out what the deficits are and where the next target might go.
Exactly. And you get more mileage out of this as you know more about the kid's experience and what they know. Not only previous instruction, but say maybe first language or what culture they're coming from, because that can make a difference in the expectations that the kids have too. So things can be more adaptable, that's better leverage for learning, but it's less like there's a theta that is the same thing except different numbers for different people that can be assessed in the same way. So it's a trade-off.
At age 12, for example, the kid could actually perform very well in terms of the system thinking. If that was a goal, say, at first grade, then you could imagine this kind of building, adapting to that child. And so I don't know how feasible it is, but I mean, you could have.
Yeah, and in that situation, you could really leverage the possibilities in assessment and learning to do a really good job for those kids. And here's a different system where they do a really good job for those kids. And their assessments are better tuned. They take advantage of knowledge and the underlying psychology and the targets of learning. And these kids both learn better. A drop-in from the sky assessment to compare those two kids is not going to work as well.